Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Once Upon a Crescent. Thank you for joining me for season 6. I was, just charging up my imagination here. It's the most important part of this podcast. I tell the stories, you imagine them, and we both learn a thing or two about our deen. Okay, let's get started.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Today's story is called
A Spoonful of Honey. Can you guess what the sound of this is? That's the sound of a chilly, snowy morning in Minnesota, where young Khadijah lives. Did you know that Minnesota is a state in the United States where the temperatures fall below the freezing point? That means stepping outside of the home to the outdoors would be like stepping into an actual freezer. Whew, now that's cold. Khadijah's eyes scanned the beautiful skies as the snowflakes steadily fell quietly to the ground. The entire neighborhood looked like a beautiful winter wonderland, with white snow covering every inch of the streets. While this definitely was not Khadijah's first time witnessing snow, it felt special watching the snowfall settle to the ground. Khadijah checked over her shoulder to make sure her little brother Musa was getting ready to go play outside. They loved making snowmen together and throwing an occasional snowball or two at each other. Khadijah walked over to Musa, who was lying on the ground with his head on the floor. He had his dinosaurs scattered near him, but he wasn't interested in playing with them, nor was he interested in getting ready to play outside. "Musa, go get your coat. Go ask Mama to help you get ready. Don't you want to play outside with me?" Musa looked up to his older sister and replied with a whisper.
No.
He covered his head with his arms and rolled over to the side. Khadijah was surprised. Her little toddler brother usually had tons of energy to play, but here he was lying on the floor with no energy or excitement to play. Khadijah bent down to Musa and tried to rub his head playfully, but pulled her hand back immediately after just a moment. "Whoa, Musa, you feel so hot. Why is your forehead so hot?" Mama heard Khadijah's observation. Mama had all of Musa's outside layers in her arms, his coat, sweater, gloves, and scarf. She was ready to get him ready, but she dropped them all to the floor when looking at Musa, who was moaning uncomfortably. She picked up little Musa in her arms and felt his head. "Ooh, subhanallah, he has a fever." Khadijah sprang into action, knowing exactly what to do after hearing that word. "A fever? Mama, I know where the thermometer is. Can I check his temperature?" Mama nodded as she tried to give little Musa his sippy cup. "Come on, Musa, let's drink some water so we don't get dehydrated." Khadijah skipped into the room, waving the thermometer in her hand. She pointed it right to Musa's forehead. Mama frowned. "Oh, that's definitely a fever, all right," she said, staring at the red screen on the thermometer. Musa laid his head on Mama's shoulder and squirmed in her lap. Mama carried him throughout the kitchen, finding a syringe and the children's medicine for Musa.
No medicine. That's yucky. No, Mama, no.
Musa yelled as he scowled at the bright red-colored medicine bottle. Mama ignored Musa's protest and filled the syringe with medicine. Khadijah tapped Mama and whispered, "Mama, That medicine tastes so gross. Musa is going to spit it out like last time. Mama nodded helplessly. Let's try to distract him. Musa broke out in some coughing while kicking his legs in frustration.
I don't like it.
Musa continued to protest.
Don't give that to me.
He yelled in the background. Khadijah grabbed Musa's stuffed dinosaur from the other room and threw him in the air and exclaimed, "Whee! Yay, Musa, look, your dinosaur is going on a roller coaster." Khadijah took the stuffed dinosaur and twirled it around in a circle. She threw it in the air again and then zoomed it up and down the kitchen until finally plopping it right onto Musa's lap. Musa cracked a smile at his sweet sister.
That's my dino.
Khadijah noticed a drip of medicine at the corner of his mouth. She looked up to her mom. Mama winked at Khadijah and gave her a thumbs up. Khadijah's idea totally worked. Musa was happily distracted that he didn't even realize that he already drank the medicine in all the excitement that his sister created. Mama carried Musa in her arms to the pantry. She opened the jar of honey and scooped a spoonful out. Musa did not protest this part. Who could say no to the taste of sweet, sticky honey? Khadijah watched Mama offer Musa the honey.
Honey.
Musa said delightfully as he began to cough again. Khadijah wondered out loud, "Mama, why do you always give us honey after our medicines? I remember you doing this even when I was little." Mama smiled at Khadijah and rubbed her back. "Good question, Khadijah. You know, the Prophet ﷺ said that there is healing in honey. There is shifa in honey. And every time I give you guys honey when you're sick, it's my way of following the Sunnah." Khadijah opened her mouth wide. I want to follow that Sunnah too. Can I have some honey too? Mama laughed. Yes, of course. Do you know what else the Prophet ﷺ advised when someone fell sick and had a fever? Khadijah shook her head no as she licked the honey clean from the spoon. The Prophet ﷺ instructed to cool a fever with water. So let's go start a bath for Musa. You can roll up your pants and get in too. Would you like to play in the tub with him? Khadijah nodded excitedly. Before Khadijah could even ask, Mama quickly added, Yes, you can add your toys in the bathtub. That's fine with me." Khadijah squealed and ran off to dig through some toys to add in the tub. Khadijah rolled up her pants to play with her 2-year-old little brother Musa in the tub. Musa's eyes started to get heavy after some time. The bath definitely calmed down Musa into a relaxing, sleepy mood. Mama turned off the water to get Musa out. She looked over to Khadijah and said, "I'll give you some extra time while I get him dressed, okay?" Khadijah didn't feel too bad about missing out on playing in the snow because this was plenty of fun too. She splashed in the water, pretending that there was a water fairy living under the water. Mama called to Khadijah after a few minutes. "Khadijah, I'm lying in bed with Musa. Turn off the water, please. Come join us for some cuddles." Khadijah dried off and tiptoed into Mama's dark room. She crept into bed next to Mama. "I'm not sleepy, but I'll just get warm next to you for a few moments, okay, Mama?" Musa was dozing off to sleep. Khadijah read the sleeping dua for her little brother's nap time.
Allahumma bi ismika amutu wa ahya.
Mama kissed Khadijah on the forehead and took a deep breath. So, what indoor activity do we do now that Musa is napping? Khadijah flashed a big smile to her mama and exclaimed, Cookies! Can we make cookies together? Mama took hold of Khadijah's hand and snuck out of the room. They made their way to the kitchen to start baking cookies together. Khadijah asked more questions about what kind of foods the Prophet ﷺ used to eat. Aside from honey, did the Prophet ﷺ like any special foods? Wow, another great question from you, Khadijah. Okay, I'll tell you of one, and it's considered a superfood. And we eat this when we break our fast during Ramadan. Khadijah exclaimed, knowing immediately what the answer was. Oh, dates! Mama smiled. She went through the pantry to find a few to offer to Khadijah. Mama and Khadijah spent the afternoon together, making cookies and eating snacks while little Musa rested and napped upstairs. This story was sponsored by Sister Ifra for her 2 kids, Khadijah and Musa.
Thank you for listening.
Inshallah, see you all at the Ramadan Read Aloud event on March 19th, Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific Time. The link to sign up for this event is in the description box of this episode. I hope I can see new kid listeners and old returning kid listeners online.
I cannot wait to see you in the Ramadan Read Aloud.
Inshallah, see you all then. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum.